Welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. It is Wednesday, and we are here to give you something new, something from 2022. But before we give you the name, my name is Keelan, and I am here with Nick. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, happy Wednesday. How are you?
Happy Wednesday. I'm doing well. Can't complain. No despair on these ends, that's for sure.
That's good. It's good. Might have to burn your house down if you did.
Only a real friend would do such a thing. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're here to review the movie The Banshees of Inisherin, which is a 2022 movie. It is a Oscar nominated film. In fact, we don't say Oscar, we say Academy Award nominated flick or film, whatever. It's listed as a comedy drama. It is rated R. It runs for an hour and 54 minutes. It is starring Colin Farrell, Kerry Condon, Barry Keoghan, Brendan Gleeson, Sheila Flinton, Gary Linden, and about six other people, which literally gives you the entire cast. It was not a lot of different people in this movie. Small cast. But in my opinion, the set wasn't, or the location setting wasn't as small as you typically see when you only have 9 to 12 people in a cast. Um, let's see. What are some things about this movie that I can just glint over before I give you guys the plot? It came out in October of 2022. It is directed by Martin Donaugh McDonough. Sorry. Wow. I'm sorry. My eyes are bad today. Directed by Martin McDonough, it is distributed by Searchlight Pictures and only had a budget of $20 million. The music is done by Carter Burwell, and I did enjoy the music, so I'm glad to see that. The budget being 20 million, before I even give the plot or we get into the movie, hey Nick, what do you think about that? This being a $20 million movie. Does that make sense?
It seems low for having Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell in
Colin
it,
Farrell,
but
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
it makes sense for the subject material. Yeah.
Okay, we're on the same page with that. I was thinking it didn't make sense because of the names, but if this were the same movie with people that I had never seen before, I would have still enjoyed it. But yeah, 20 million definitely seems like I don't want to say B flip, like a B roll, but
That's an accounting error.
it seems like it.
Yeah.
Right? Like especially
For
in
big
2022.
corporations. Yeah.
But either way, for all we'll know, we will find out that 20 million is a typo. But at the moment, it shows that this was a $20 million budgeted movie. We don't know what it did in the box office because that is not listed, at least not on Google. With that being said, let's get into the plot and tell you guys how we feel about it. The movie Banshees of Inisherin goes as such. On a remote island off the coast of Ireland, Podrick is devastated when his buddy Calm suddenly puts an end to their lifelong friendship. With help from his sister and a troubled young islander, Podrick sets out to repair the damaged relationship by any means necessary. However, as Calm's resolve only strengthens, he soon delivers an ultimatum that leads to shocking consequences. Um, that is a much longer plot than I had seen before. On HBO Max, it simply says two lifelong friends find themselves at an impasse when one abruptly ends their relationship with alarming consequences for both of them. Uh, what you
And
find on
if you
Google,
want to reduce it even further, it can be summed up in the sentence, I just don't like you anymore.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally this movie, and you get the everything going on around that. I just don't like you anymore. But what they have on Google, I think, is almost like the Cliff Notes. Like, you don't want to watch the movie, but you want to tell somebody that you saw the movie. Just read the Google, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, you saw it. Like maybe you didn't like it, but you saw it." Um, with that, first impressions, Nick, how did you feel about the movie Banshees of Inisherin?
I'll tell you, I was kind of apprehensive at first when I saw the trailer because I thought it was going to be much more dramatic and more of like a Oscar baity kind of movie
Same.
where, we were going to get, because this is also the same director as like Two Billboards or whatever, the one that like won the Oscars a few years back. So I was a little bit cautious when we came into it, but I actually enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty decent. Really pretty cinematography. You're on this small island in Ireland in a very tiny town. Um, and I think it does a good job about depicting small town life and how the island itself is sort of this prison that all these people are in. I do also like I guess it's a metaphor, but it's really just the allegory of the Irish Civil War, um, where you could sum that up in the sentence, "I just don't like you anymore," as well. When the Catholics and the Protestants started fighting each other, that went down the household lines, and basically, family members started hating each other.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think it did a pretty good job at that. It was an interesting movie. The acting was pretty decent. I laughed much more than I thought I would. So yeah, pleasantly surprised with this one. Otherwise,
Okay.
I would have never suspected that I was gonna like it. So
Hmm. I did not put together anything about the Irish Civil War and all of that. I mean, I was aware that was going on the main island or the mainland, but everything that you just said and the way you put that together, I'm like, oh wow, that was kind of lost on me. But now I get it. Um, Not get a lot of it, but I understand uh the temperature and the way you explained that makes sense. As far as the movie itself and what I originally got from it, how I felt about it, yeah, I too was not sure what to expect. I saw that it was a nominated film. I saw Colin Farrell, and I was thinking, I never know what to expect out of that dude. So that was a plus. Um, at the same time, I saw that it was listed as a comedy, and I was confused from the trailer how the hell this was going to be turned into a comedy. The amount of times "feckin" was said is within itself. That's within itself a laugh. So, starting with that, I didn't expect to enjoy it in the ways I did. I expected to have more thought I needed to put into what was going on. Um, and I think it's a pretty easygoing, smooth movie.
mhm.
Didn't expect that. As far as the director, I didn't know much about him to know that he had another, I guess you could say, under the radar Oscar flick or an Academy Award picture.
Mhm.
Um, that says something. Not sure what it says as of yet. I'd have to look a little bit deeper into his background. Two things it could say. It could say, "Wow, you're really good," or it could say, "You know exactly who to put your stuff in front of." Either way, good on him.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Mhm.
no knock on him.
So
Um,
I have a question
yeah.
for you. And maybe this will help us sort of dovetail into what happens in this movie. But why did Colm stop talking to Podrick?
Actually, I have a answer for that. Combs stopped talking to Podrick because he had known Podrick long enough to know that Podrick couldn't understand what Combe was missing. Combe didn't know what Combe was missing, and to give Podrick the space to do that with him, Combe felt like, but it's not your life, it's mine. I need to do this on my own. And because Podrick wasn't giving him that space, it just reinforced, as even the plot says, it just made Combe thicker in that. But initially, it was simply, I need to see a little bit of change in myself because I feel empty.
Mhm.
In fact, I think he was trying to protect Podrick from his own sorrows, and because Podrick is such an upbeat person, I think he was trying not to bring Podrick down. How do you feel about, or what do you think was the
Yeah.
reason?
I think that I mean, that's why I kind of like the movie is you can interpret it in many different ways.
Yeah,
Where I kind of saw it as Colm deeply started to reflect on his own life and he found himself lacking.
hmm,
And I think he found a scapegoat in Podrick.
yeah,
I thought to myself, oh, he's just bitter because he spent all of his time with Podrick at the bar, and now he regrets not making his grand opus of a music song or whatever. And now
yeah,
Podrick's the reason that he never accomplished anything because he's just a nice dude that wants to go to the bar with his friend,
Right. Right.
and Colm is just like having these, ideas of grandeur and wanting to be more than just a guy on a prison island,
Yeah. At first I started there too. I initially was thinking like, dang, Colm think his boy is a loser. But then you realize it's like, oh no, Colm feels that he's a loser.
Mm-hmm.
Like he feels like he's wasted his life away. And as you said a minute ago, yeah, he definitely was using Podrick as the excuse to why he had made nothing of himself.
Yeah.
Um, Something I thought was very not obvious from the beginning, but telling near the end is you realize Colm had already to his life succession, like he was living the life's purpose that he felt he was destined for. Um, the animals, the people, the just being a good person, genuinely just being a good person, and that was enough for him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was something that wasn't obvious from the beginning. I think from the very beginning, at the very beginning, like at the end, I feel like I said a minute ago, but at the very beginning, I really think that I believed Calm was just like, yo, I'm tired of babysitting this loser.
Right.
That's how they made it come off, but and we'll pass through. But as we get to the first scene where we see not the first scene of the movie, but the first scene of the church, when the confessional comes and the pastor asks, or the priest asks him, uh, what of the despair? That's when
Mm-hmm.
everything came into play. I was like, oh, buddy going through some depression over there, huh?
Right. Yeah. For
Which
sure.
that's life. That's real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a very Irish movie, so it helps to have the subtitles on a couple for a
For some of
couple of
them.
some of the lines. I was like, oh, okay, I'm
Yes.
glad I have the subtitles on.
Yes. I can't comment on how Irish this movie is. What I can and will comment on is this movie is very, and my wife said the same thing. This movie is human.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is so human. It's almost scary. It's like, are we supposed to be this human?
Yeah,
Well, the camera, at least.
I I like the concept of the tiny island. I think that that's a really good
Hmm.
um, setting for a type of thing like this, because really a lot of the issue lies in the fact that there's probably only 40 to 50 people in that
Man,
town,
got
and
any news?
yeah, so you have this dude that doesn't want to speak to this guy that there's only one place to go, and like the unreasonableness of Calm, like, I don't even want you coming near me. It's like, well, bro, this is a town of 50 people. It's I'm gonna be around once in a while.
Once in a while. I
Yeah.
don't have to talk to you, but you're gonna see me.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I will say. They were both. I understood both sides, but they were both unreasonable in different ways.
Hmm.
Um, Unfortunately, I think it's their age that made it so cringe. Like for a minute,
Mm.
right? Like, what did Dominic say in the pub? Dominic
What is he,
says,
12?
"Yeah, what is he 12?" That's
Yeah.
the perspective of the entire situation until it becomes physical,
Hmm.
until it becomes anything. Uh, uh, what did the priest call it?
Self-mutilation.
Thank you, mutilation.
Hmm.
Until the mutilation and all of those things start, it's just schoolhouse shit
Yeah.
with a couple of pints in between.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So you want to take us through this
Yeah,
this trip here?
let's go through this and find out what they were rowing on about. Um,
No, we're having a row.
were you having a row?
Are you rowing? Yeah. It does seem
I
like
just
we're rowing.
does seem that way. Like, buddy, are you not reading the room?
Yeah.
You're rowing. So we begin with Patrick or Parik or Podrick, or depending on what your diction is on today.
Hmm.
Uh, Podrick goes to see his best friend Combe so that they can head over to the pub and grab a pint as they do every day at 2 p.m. And Combs ignoring Podrick. He ain't having it today. And from the very beginning, which is something that I personally loved about this movie, what you need to be introduced for. You know what you're here to watch. Start watching it.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No need
I was
for no need for a setup or anything like that.
what
Mhm.
niceties? You
Mm-mm.
gonna get all your niceties. Just let this happen. I
Yeah.
appreciated that subtleness of the movie of like, okay, so we gonna get see how their friendship is. But, oh no, we're not. This is their. This is matter of fact. That's something I will say now. This is their feckin' friendship.
I mean, it does definitely seem at the end of the movie that this going forward is their friendship.
These two.
Yeah.
No, I think this has been their friendship. I think they're two. What did he call them earlier? Goms. I think these two goms just get into spittle spattles all the time, and it's never trickled over to where the rest of the town noticed.
Maybe. Maybe.
This time it just trickled into some maliciousness. And yes, as you said a minute ago, yes, now this is officially the ground floor. This probably used to be the apex. They get into a little argument here and there, and feck you, blah blah blah. That was probably like the most it would get. And as Calm says, he rather enjoys them when he's drunk. And as we see, every time he gets drunk, he gets very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick gets drunk and he's ready to take on the world. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like, nah, that's literally what they do, and that's when it gets bad. It's just this time it's like he don't want to fight with the drunk you no more. He want to fight with the sober you now because the sober you is boring. The drunk you at least gets my heart pumping.
Right. I think that there's a good, there's a good critique or I guess idea there about this idea of going sort of stir crazy, and
Hmm.
maybe Colm did this just to get some fucking excitement out of his life.
Yeah, he kind
Like
of he even says that.
yeah. I mean, because like again, it goes back to being on that tiny ass island that you're just away from everything. And so yeah, it could very well be that as people who are as emotionally stunted as Colm is might create a dramatic situation just to sort of feel any
Entertain himself.
pulse. Yeah.
Yep, yep. As you
Yeah.
said. Um. So initially, Patrick leaves. He's going to the pub. His sister sees him. She makes a joke that maybe Calm doesn't like him anymore. And he goes to the pub alone. Everybody's now asking him about Calm. He don't like that. So now
Mm.
he's going to find Calm. Like, hey, yo, people keep asking me what's up. Where you at? Where's
Yeah.
Calm?
Are
Now
we
Calm went
rowing?
the other way. Yeah, are we rowing or what?
Yeah.
Now Calm's at the pub. They meet at the pub, the public house, which I thought that was pretty dope to find the name public house. Is like, oh, the pub. Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Never knew. It takes an Irish flick to tell you, right?
Yeah. We got Big Mike
Um,
here.
hey, what up, Big Mike? Big Mike said he feckin' liked it, and there's no row from him. We appreciate
Good.
that.
Yeah.
Good on
Again,
you,
we're
mate.
we're burning people's houses down.
Right? Yeah, because we are definitely burning people's houses down who have anything contrary to say. But that's good
Right.
on you, like, or is that good on you? So, how would that be said? Good on you, like, or good on you, so?
Oh, good on you, so I think. Yeah, good on you, so. And then they do drop like a lot, but I don't remember the
Not in the way a
context.
Californian does, though.
No, no, no. But it could be some sort of linguistic remnant from, like,
Hmm,
Irish immigrants or something like that. I
that's
don't
fair.
know. It's
Yeah,
possible.
that's a
Because
fair.
this movie is set in the 1920s. We forgot to
The
say that.
20s. It's funny. I was wondering if it was like the 60s, the 50s, because also keeping in mind that I don't know when the Irish Civil War was, but I know
Mhm.
that in the 90s was a level of a civil war in Ireland as well.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
the
It's been
80s.
going
It
on.
was the late
Yeah,
80s. Yeah.
it's been going on for a while, but I believe this is set in the 20s, and this is like kind of where everything starts to kick off a lot. It's definitely after
Mhm.
World War One.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was curious to the time period because it never really came up. Um, so you find out that Combs at the pub, everybody is now talking about it, and he just tells him, "Hey, stop talking to me. Like I don't want to be your friend. Leave me alone." Um, after that,
I
Patrick
just
just,
don't like you anymore.
yeah, I just don't like you. Patrick doesn't really know how to take this. He's noticeably sad, you
Yeah,
know.
because his line is, "You liked me yesterday."
Right? Did I? Did I now?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, you did, buddy. Knock it off. Did
Yeah.
you missed
Right.
it yesterday?
Poor Patrick. I really felt bad for him in this movie. Like,
I felt bad
yeah,
when I realized this was only like 2 or 3 days. This was a weekend.
it's a really bad
A
weekend.
really bad weekend, but this is a
Yeah.
weekend. Like this is legitimately just a weekend.
Hmm.
Um So Dominic goes, and Dominic kind of he's kind of trying to give him a pep talk, kind of taking shots at Calm, but he's trying to pick up um Podrick's
Patrick.
energy, and Saban even talks to him a little bit, but she also it's like, it's all right, things will blow over. They're not gonna blow over. But so you'd realize that Calm's really just tired of Podrick. And that's when you start to feel like he's feeling like he's a loser. But of course, we find out why he's tired of Podrick is more so. It has a lot more to do with Calm. It has actually nothing to do with Podrick.
Very
Nothing at
little
all.
to do with Podrick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah,
thought,
you're right. Very little because Podrick does take up some of the time. It's 24 hours in a day, brother. I don't know how
yeah,
much you complaining about 2 hours of your day Podrick took. What'd you do with the other 22? You know what? I'll be nice.
yeah.
He went to sleep. What'd you do with the other 14?
Right, right. I did like the little moment Podrick had when he flipped the calendar and realized that that day was April
April
1st.
Fools. Yeah.
And
I
so
gave
he kind of had like that moment where he's like, "Oh, he got me." And then you just like there's just so many of those moments where you're like, "Oh, maybe they're going to be fine."
Yeah,
And
like they got
Combs
us.
just like, "No, we're not friends."
That dead stare.
It happened like 3 or 4 times in the movie where Colm will like break his shunning
Hmm.
and be nice to Podrick and then
Hmm.
go right back to
Right back
shunning
to it.
him.
Right
Yeah,
back to it. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few times, but I mean, I think that's the muscle memory he's trying to break.
maybe.
The muscle memory is you see Pod, you sit down, Pod's about to get to talking. Hey, Pod. Wait, what am I doing? I said I wasn't doing this anymore. I gotta go. Hey, get the fuck out.
Mm, right.
um, so once you get around to it, you see that Podrick really has nothing else to do. Calm makes that very clear to him. Podrick can't argue or debate it in any way. And everybody else is really having a hard time telling Podrick that I don't want to say he's the dumb one, but that he has no Ford. And that's not a bad thing for Podrick because, once again, Podrick understands what his life is. Podrick is comfortable with his life. It's everyone around who expects more
Mhm.
because of whatever, because they're all living right there with him. And that's why I appreciated his sister Saban when she had put into perspective with Combe. Comb's like, he's just boring, and it's like, you're all feckin' boring.
Mhm.
Like all of you are like, ooh, one more silent man on the island. Like, you're all boring. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
I appreciated her for that because,
I do too. And again, I also like how close Ireland is actually
mhm,
to the island. It's like very close. It's closer than, Long Beach to Catalina. Um and I mean, at least it looked that way. It looked pretty
let's
close.
say less than 30 miles.
Maybe more than 30 miles. But I do like that concept too because then there's always there's this like I don't know. There's this lamentation about the fact that the big city's right over there. Like all of the opportunity, and that's what the sister kind of
So
falls
close.
into.
Yeah,
It's like all the city life, the
the sister
and
and the police, the
yes,
police
and the
father.
police officer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he wasn't even trying to go for work or to better his life. He just wanted to go for the entertainment. The entertainment was better over there for him.
right. And that really talks about the sort of the transition from society to a more rural to more urban society where everything was in the city, all the opportunity, all the entertainment, and the rural
Well, nothing was
lifestyle
entertainment.
started to the rural lifestyle started to break down because
Right.
nobody wanted to be there anymore.
Right. And it's interesting to even think about that. The dad was going for executions, which means executions only took place in a big city. You took your worst criminals and sent them all there to put on display.
Hmm.
It's interesting.
Hmm.
It was an interesting thing when I thought about it. Like, oh wow. And I think that's actually when I realized maybe it wasn't in a time frame that I was aware of, and I really started questioning, like, what if they go into the galleys and they hanging folk?
Yeah.
um. So let's see, where are we? Podrick Calm composes his music, and he really just wants to add to the beauty of the world. Um, I thought it was really cool that Calm was able to articulate, how he felt life slipping away, and it was like one day away from his friend, and now here I am. I've already written the first stanza to a work of art that I'm working on now,
Yeah.
and it said. a little bit of two things on both on two or for one of excuse me, one thing for each of them, but two things in total. One, Podrick found it very hard to be happy for his friend in that moment because of the way it was introduced to him. I don't think it's, we found out later, it's definitely not because he didn't have love for Calm and Calm's passions. It was introduced to him as a replacement for him.
Hmm.
So there's no way he would enjoy it in that moment. So that's the, I want to be happy for my friend, but how can I be happy for my friend who's been hiding this big secret from me? Simultaneously, it made me feel as if Calm didn't trust Podrick with this secret or with this thing of his because did maybe he didn't feel he was worthy. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I mean, really, what it all comes down to is just Colm's insecurities and his idea about, he's older, he's getting older, he doesn't have very much time left, as he says himself.
Hmm.
Not like he's dying very soon, but he's older. So,
Oh,
like he's taking stock in his life and realizing that he didn't do any of the things that he wanted to do.
mm,
Um, and so I think that the music sort of is him trying to claw at some type of legacy
yeah,
and
something that lasts, as he said.
stays. Yeah, something that stays. And I think that that's where you guys were talking, you and your wife saying like this is a very human, like that's a very human element of like getting older and then looking back and hoping to goodness that you don't have regrets about stuff.
Right,
You know?
right. And I think that's, yes, that's what we all would like. I think as we all get older, what is life without regrets? It's life
Yeah.
without experience, right?
Mhm.
It's like, come on, man. But to his age, and I fully understand, but to Calm's age, I was curious to how much older than Podrick he was. Podrick didn't have nearly as much gray. He didn't seem
Mhm.
as I don't want to use the word.
Patrick looked like he was in his late 40s, and Calm looks like he's in his 60s.
There we go. Podrick
Yeah.
still looks more spry and able bodied.
Yeah,
He's
he's
drinking two
younger.
jugs of milk with no worries. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We see the only thing that Calm tends to is his fiddle and his dog. So to me, that said, he, especially for a man that lives by himself, as large as he is, you never saw him moving lumber or adjusting anything. The strongest thing you saw him do was knocking out the police officer.
Mm.
Um, that let me know he knew his strength, but he no longer practiced things that took that amount of work.
Brendan Gleeson's a great actor. He's very good.
Hmm.
He was in Gangs in New York,
Hmm.
if you've seen that. Also in Harry Potter, of course. Um, but he's been
Mad.
in tons of stuff. Yeah, he plays Mad Eye Mooney in Harry
Oh,
Potter. Hmm.
whoa! I remember him more from Gangs in New York. When you said that, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember him in that. Harry Potter. I'm like, Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, I know John Joe and the other guy that was at the bar. They essentially tell Podrick he's one of life's good guys, and that I feel like that was the turning point for Podrick. Like,
That was so belittling.
what did you just say to me, bro?
Yeah, well,
If
it's because he's being called dull and
yeah,
doesn't like this idea that he's dull just
if
because he's a simple man. He doesn't have, like,
feelings essentially.
yeah. Well, he just knows what he is. He's a simple guy. He goes to the bar at 2 o'clock. He has a pet mini donkey.
Structured life.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, his loves and likes and hates and all those things are lined up properly. Properly. I heard myself not articulate that one. Um, when Podrick goes, so Podrick's very close with Dominic, and Podrick goes down to the store to sell his milk. And after he sells his milk, the lady, the clerk, she's a gossip. So every time someone comes in, you got any news for me? You got any news? And she's complaining at this point that no one's had any news for her, which is interesting that the witch doctor is sitting there.
Yeah, that witch lady is
It's
she's
like,
always there.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
always there. So you got all the gossip and news already because this one over here can foresee it all,
Right.
apparently.
Yeah. Apparently.
So I just thought it was interesting that the officer comes in. I forgot the officer's name, but Dominic's father comes in, shares all the news of the copper things that he knows, And Podrick, in an attempt to defend his friend, and I thought it was a nice thing he tried to do there. You want some news? Here's some news. He beats his kid. He beats his kid for
Mhm.
no reason. I thought
Yeah.
it was funny that he didn't tell or didn't, make believe that he diddled his kid as he did much later in the bar scene in front of the rest of the town. But I just thought it would be interesting that that's not news because just like they see Podrick, they see Dominic as dull or stupid. And because of
Mhm.
that, it's okay for his father to beat him. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
And his
telling.
father goes to the mainland and is, has
Okay.
big city connections, you know what I mean? So yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's that elitism of the sort of like the cosmopolitan enlightened person that leaves the rural rubes to dig dirt and,
I get that.
yeah.
He's supposed to be the hard worker, even though.
Yeah.
Um, so after Podrick has the priest talk to Calm, Calm takes it upon himself to make the first gesture because at this point he's already let Podrick know. Podrick, stop speaking to me. Podrick, if you speak to me again, if you affect me in any way, I will cut off my finger for every time you disturb my life. And Podrick believes him. Podrick doesn't want to shake any branches on the tree. He doesn't want anything to go awry. But eventually, this doesn't really work out. He does speak to him. And Calm cuts
Because
off a
it's a
finger.
town of 40 people. It's going to
Exactly.
happen eventually.
Exactly. Honestly, I did not think Calm would do it. And after he spoke to him, it's like, all right, they just going, it's gonna be over. They're gonna stop. They're gonna find a way to go. Is that is that his is that his finger?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh wait, sorry. Before the finger, actually, before the finger happens, um, Dominic's dad knocks Podrick out, and Podrick is picked up and assisted halfway home by Calm. So I can understand how at this point Podrick thinks it's okay to at least speak to the dude.
Yeah, Padre's getting gaslit the entire time.
A thousand, a
He's
thousand percent.
1,000% because Calm will tell him not to speak to them, and then he breaks character, and then it's back to shunning him again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we can see at this point it's very clear that the person who has the issue here is not Podrick.
yeah.
Something is very much so disturbed about Calm, and nobody sees it because they all like Calm so much. And I think that is a part of the problem that Calm was running into that's not really told in this movie. A part of the problem is he's so liked and he's so likable that no everybody just overlooked his issue. So he was friends with the person that everybody saw the worst in. And still, y'all don't see my issues. Ain't nobody try. All right, what do I do next? And how do you know when somebody's crying for help?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't even know if he was crying for help at this
That's a good
point,
question. I don't
you
think he
know?
wanted it in too much help. But the only person that would have understood, kind of the point I was trying to make, the only person that would have understood is the one person who did know something was really wrong, which is Padre, the one person he didn't
Mhm.
want around because who else was gonna know? How would
Right,
they know?
right,
Oh, I
yeah.
said I was gonna stop doing that because of yeah, never mind. Right. Um, so either way, he goes, he confronts Calm and the police officer at the night at the pub because he's drunk. Everything comes full circle. The next morning, what do you know? Calm cuts off his finger and launches it at the door, creating a big thud.
Throws it at the door.
Now, at this is just stupid at this point for him to cut off his finger the first time. I know, no, both times because you were okay with what happened. You said, no, I'd rather prefer him this way. Actually, I'm rather starting to like him. How you gonna joke about it and then go home and get in your feelings and mutilate yourself?
Yeah, and so back to that gaslighting thing because in a town of 40 people, when you say, "Oh, Podrick, I like him now because he's being a dick," you don't think that that's not going to get back to him because that's what
Right.
happens. It
And
gets
that's what
back to
happened.
him that he likes that, and now
Mhm.
it's going to happen more. So,
Well, something to say in the middle of this while we're actually covering the movie, but the reality sides of some of this. Sometimes having to move on from situations and from people is like losing a finger. It is like cutting off
mhm.
or severing a limb. Shit's hard.
Mhm.
Going in, falling into those routines of seeing somebody all the time. This is how we usually congregate. Trying to add something new, getting a new job, moving to a new town. Like a lot of these things actually could be a part of how to explain this movie. But let's focus on the fun parts for now. Just
Yeah.
throwing that out there
There's
that there
also
could be a
yeah.
reality to these things.
There's also a parallel between, sort of like anger and anger being a corrosive
Yes,
feeling that, like tears you apart.
literally, to where it's painless.
Right.
Um, so it cuts off his first finger. He goes, throws it. Saban does return his finger, but we do see at some point he is still playing the fiddle, even though you could tell he himself knows that he will never be the man he once was on the fiddle. Dummy.
Yeah. Spite, man. That's spite.
I-
The term "you cut your nose to spite your
Like
face."
face, yeah.
Yeah.
He cut
He's
his
he's
hand to
just
spite
he's
his fiddle.
cutting his finger to spite his fiddle, and he'd rather cut his finger off than actualize all of the things that he was talking about at the beginning of the movie.
Yes,
He'd rather be so spiteful to Podrick
yeah.
that he's going to jeopardize the thing that he said would immortalize him
Mhm.
because
I'm
Podrick
gonna be
keeps bugging him.
I'm gonna be great because we not friends no more. Patrick, now you gotta stop bothering me, or else I don't want to be great because I can't be great if you keep talking to me.
Right.
Well, go be great then. Did you say something to me? Now I gotta sever my finger. I can't be great because you talking to me. I just told you to go be great.
I kind of feel like they love each other now.
They're definitely in love. It's guy love. Remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah. For
it
all of those out
definitely is.
there who also remember Guy Love from the early 2000s, Scrubs, sorry and you're welcome.
Mm.
Um but yeah, so he cuts off his first finger. Everybody's now looking at Podrick like he's wrong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Everybody
listen,
takes calm side.
listen. Call me sadistic, call me twisted, call me what you want to. You gonna mutilate yourself because I'm talking to you? I just found a new hobby.
I said that. I said the same thing. I just keep bugging him until he cuts himself into little
Just
bits.
found a new hobby. I don't even know why I'm that twisted in my brain, but I promise you, I was like, I just found a
It's
new
that
hobby.
spite. It's the
Let's see if you
spite.
start cutting
Yeah.
things off in smaller portions so it can go on longer.
Yeah. It's the spite, but it's like it's the spite that comes from like a deep hurt. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So like Podrick's being spiteful because his best friend is ignoring him now. Calm's being spiteful about the fact that Podrick won't leave him the fuck alone.
right.
And it's all just like this, like they're just being hurt with each other
Super hurt for no reason.
for no
Just tell each
reason,
other
all in their feelings.
we don't want
Yeah.
to. I don't want you to live with your sister. I don't want you to live alone. Let's be best friends in the same house.
Yeah.
Um,
Your
but
dog and my donkey already like each other.
you know what I mean? They're
All
already
right.
friends. They
Yeah.
congregate well.
Yeah.
I didn't come here for licks. Then what did you come here for?
What's the
So
opposite of licks?
yeah, exactly. That was funny. That was
Yeah.
funny. But so he hits his first hand back. He can't play the fiddle. Um, Dominic basically. Oh, sorry. He plays the fiddle. He ends up going. They speak a little bit later again. At this point, after Dominic and Podrick have talked, Podrick's just he's hot. He's done. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go tell him about himself. Oh wait, I ain't gonna tell him about himself because I see he got a new music friend, and I'm just gonna sit here and watch him. Now I'm gonna lie to his music friend and tell his music friend that his dad just got hit by a bread van. And then
That
he
should
said
have me laughing so
that was funny.
hard.
That was a Mel Brooks joke. I don't care what nobody say.
It really was.
That was a
Yeah.
Mel Brooks joke. The bread van? Oh, okay. That's impossible. That's not
No,
impossible.
it
People
happens
get
all
hit
the
by bread
time.
vans all the time. No, but my mama was killed by a bread van. Bro,
If I find out it's the same bread van, I'm
I'll
gonna
kill
kill
him.
him.
I'm sitting there like, Podrick, you are evil.
Right.
That was like, and I appreciate it when they had Dominic say, like, that might be the meanest thing I've ever heard.
Hmm.
Like, you said what? And then after he said what he said, you could have just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was wrong. But he didn't.
Well,
And
that's when Podrick sort of starts turning to the dark side, right? He was
Patrick,
a nice guy, but he makes a turn. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God, he makes a severe turn. But and I appreciated how even Dominic says that, and he goes immediately. He's like, maybe this is the new me. Maybe this is
Hmm.
the new me. I am Batman. But so yeah, after you go and you turn into the guy who just doesn't care anymore, as Podrick does, you have Saban and she come. Oh, excuse me. Podrick goes. He sits down and he chews him out. He just chews him out. Like he's done. I appreciated this moment because I honestly thought it was going to turn differently.
Hmm.
I did. Thought it was going to turn a little differently. I thought the same thing that Podrick thought. Cole just needs some tough love. He just needs some. Just shake him up. Or I was thinking earlier what I thought early. Leave him the fuck alone. Y'all could have literally both just stopped talk. Where is the willpower in these two men?
There's a town of 40 people. He's your only
I
friend.
keep forgetting that part. I keep forgetting that part. If
Yeah.
I'm your only friend out of 40, come on, buddy. Let it ride.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. I
And
know we
that's
might not
that's where
even like each other
Podrick's coming
anymore.
from. He's like, "Come on, dude. We've been friends for this long, and now all of a sudden you
Mhm.
don't want to talk to me." Like, and I really only think the extension of their friendship is getting a beer at 2 p.m.
Probably.
And then
I think that's
like,
the only thing they do is they get a beer, they hang out from 2 to 4. That's it.
yeah. So it's not like wasting too much of your time.
But that's what we all had to admit. If those, I know you and I both realized, Calm just he was the problem.
Hmm.
He was the issue.
Yeah.
He was depressed.
He was
He had
depressed.
despair.
He had the despair.
That was the despair. It's going away. It's back a bit.
It's back a bit, little bit.
It wasn't Patrick's fault.
After
It was
murdering Jenny, it was
nice
back a
though.
bit. Yeah.
Right. So
Hmm.
after Patrick goes and chastises him, gives him some tough love, it seems as if Calm's coming around, and then the
I knew
dog's
that
like,
shit was a trap.
"Oh man, what's what? No, it was when he goes, why don't you do that, Patrick?" I was like, "Will,
Right.
what are you gonna do?" And I didn't think he was gonna do what he did, but he
Hmm.
does, and that whole left hand is now gone, or fingers. All of the digits are missing, and he throws them singularly at the door.
One by one. Thunk.
Unfortunately, thunk,
Thunk.
thunk, thunk. Right, and they're not there because at this point, Shaban is telling Podrick that she's leaving because she's tired of this dreary bullshit. She's tired of being miserable. She's tired of the misery that he and his friend are bringing to her household. She's tired of his simpleton friend who wants to marry her. Simpleton.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that goes even worse. And she gets a job offer, so Shaban's gone. She's out, and she's telling Podrick to come with her, but he won't.
Hmm.
Shaban leaves, but when he returns home, he finds his beloved Jenny with a chubby man's finger in her throat. That's when we knew
Motherfucker.
it was all gone. It
Burn the
was a wrap.
damn island down.
Burn it
Burn
all
it
down.
down.
It was a wrap.
That was it. I said, now it's John Wick time.
Yeah.
Now we
I
need.
assumed he was about to do worse than what he did, but he did some good gnarly. I the emotion he took, I appreciated.
Yes.
Podrick declared war.
Yes.
He declared war. And he let Calm know, I'm gonna burn your home down at 2 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday after church. You could be inside, you could be outside, I don't care. But make sure you leave your dog outside because I have no qualms with that gone.
Right. I like your dog,
I
actually.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice. I'm like, yo, that's how a man lets you know it's a
In
wrap,
front of the
son.
whole town, too.
Yeah, except the
Yeah.
police, luckily.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, who gets there just in time for the nonsense, and then Calm, being the man that he is, all right, enough of you. Like I've
Gaslight
let you.
again. Gaslight again.
Yes and
Punch the
no.
policeman.
Yes and no. Um, Later he makes the point of, if it's wrong to punch a policeman, what has the world come to? Now I think that was a social commentary there. One, I think two, that when he hung out with Dominic's father, he wasn't in uniform before.
Yeah.
So you come in acting an ass, you're in uniform, and you putting your hands on somebody that's not your place.
And you're talking shit about Jenny? Come on.
It's a wrap. And
Yeah.
it was something that was very clear. One of their biggest connections that I don't think was very clear until the end was they both had a love for animals, and I think that's where their friendship began to begin with. Is
Probably.
how much Podrick loves the animals. Uh,
Again, Jenny and the dog were friends.
yeah, Calm's love for the beautiful things. Animals are a part of the beautiful things. So it's like there was definitely a level of friendship within them that was gonna always be there no matter what. And also note, no one else could get in the middle of their fighting. Anybody else got in
Mm-mm.
the middle of their arguing and fighting, it was pretty much wrapped for them. The only person that could was Saban, and even Patrick let it be known like she has a mind of her own. He didn't defend her. He just, hey, she has a mind of her own, bro. I can't do nothing about that.
Mm.
You
You're
know,
throwing fingers at our house, so
throwing
she's
fingers.
going to talk to you about that.
You know what I mean? They both just needed a probiotic and a fruit smoothie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after during church, you see Patrick get up. He leaves. He leaves to go and start prepping, and everybody watches him leave. The
Mhm.
cops, Calm, the priest. Calm goes to confessional. Listen, I fell in love with this movie around this time. Like, if you've ever seen two men with just unwavering resolve, it's at the end of this movie.
It's
Oh, you
true.
gonna burn my shit down? I don't care. Oh, you don't care? I don't care. I told you I'm not gonna look inside and see if I'll kill you. Uh, give me this dog. I'm out of here. I'm doing my thing. Oh, wait, are you in? Are you still in there? Are you tough? Stay inside then. Shoot, I guess we even.
Right.
These two, like, I appreciated the ending, you know. Um, but yeah, so after everything comes, one hand short, uh, no longer a fiddle player. He just shakes blood onto the table through his fiddle while the
Yeah,
boys
pretty much.
play. Um, we find out that after Calm stays in his home, Podrick burns it down. It does burn. He stays inside, or at least for some period of time, but it doesn't take him with it, and he is still there the next day or the next morning. However, the entire night, Podrick is perfectly fine with the thought of him not being there. The only thing he's sad about is that Shaban is gone. Um, Writes a letter to Shaban,
Jenny's
and that is
gone.
and Jenny's gone, but he doesn't tell Shaban that. Tells
Yeah.
doesn't tell Shaban that Jenny is fine, but does tell Shaban that they found Dominic in the river.
Yeah.
Because possibly he slipped. I don't think he slipped, but let's run with that.
He definitely
Um,
didn't slip. Either he killed
yeah.
himself or his father killed him.
I don't think his dad did it, if I'm being honest. I think this is such a sad story in so many ways. Um, I think the only person that would have saw what was going on with Dominic was Podrick. Podrick was going through what he was going through because of Calm, making Calm the ultimate bad guy in this because Podrick was the town good guy. So one of life's good guys. So he would have been the person to pull Dominic off of that ledge if he were able to be in his element, and he wasn't. That's not really to blame Calm, but that's to kind of put things in a perspective of how one person being self-absorbed can take an entire town out of their comfort, change things for what they
Mm.
are. Um, with that, uh, Podrick was fine again with Calm not being there, but then we find out the next morning Calm is there. The dog runs down. Calm says, "Oh, so I guess we're even now because my house is gone." And Podrick's like, "Nah, bro. If you had to stay inside your house when it burned down, yeah, we'd be good. But you didn't, did you?
Mhm.
You came out. So no, Jenny's gone. So we not even. We taking this to the grave, as you said. Um, although they still turn around, and this is when I realized, like, oh, this is really just this is their friendship.
Yeah.
He turns and he's like, hey, Patrick, thank you for watching my dog anyway. Anytime.
Yeah, yeah. They're just redefining their friendship as mortal enemies. So,
it reminds me of those old back I guess you could say back in the 80s and 90s movies type joints where you had the uncle and the dad. They always be in the garage smoking their cigarettes and pumping weights, and somebody get into an argument. If you next weekend y'all still at the barbecue together. Same
mhm,
shit.
pretty
Same shit.
much, pretty much, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, but that's kind of how it ends, right?
Yeah,
Anytime.
that's where we at. That's where we
That's
are.
it.
Anytime. It's
Yeah.
it starts where it ends, and it ends where it starts. In the middle of nowhere, on their friendship. It's just a day in the life of two guys off the coast of Ireland.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's really what this movie is. I don't like you no more. But did I really like you? Or am I just do I have to just put up with you because you're the only person on this island that I kind of get along with?
Yeah. And now I may like you more than ever
Yeah, now you
in my
might be my best.
dislike for you.
Right. Like, oh, you don't like me no more? Bestie. You want to go do karate in the garage?
Yeah.
What, what
Yeah.
did you say
Very
to me just
complicated relationship that, again, to tie it back to the sort of the Irish Civil War, right? Um, it would be complicated because, again, you're having family members fight each other.
Right.
And, so it is that like we are on warring sides, but we got a family reunion coming up soon. So
See you
we
next
might need
week.
to see each other and be cool for a little while.
Like, what are you bringing to Granny's?
Hmm.
To what are you bringing to dinner on Sunday?
Right.
String beans again? Yeah. All right, fine. I'll bring the beans. Yeah. But so with that, any final thoughts? Final comments?
No, simple movie. Interesting idea. Very much sort of. Did it get nominated for best stage play or screenplay? Feel
Best
like
picture.
that's
And
picture.
yeah, best picture, and it got the Volpe Cup for best actress.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I
I would
remember.
have said screenplay is good because it's very interesting story. I do like
Oh,
movies like this where it's, like it is just about two guys in Ireland, but it's more than that too.
right. So, um, Academy Award listing. Uh, it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor in a Leading Role, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Best Directing. These are all Academy Awards. Uh, Original Screenplay. Let's see what else for Academy. Best Music. Huh. Original score is what that would be called. And Best Film Editing
Mm.
are all of the Academy Award
Too bad Everything
nominations.
Everywhere All at Once came out last year too.
Yep. So bad for a lot of movies. If I was
Yeah.
listen, I
Yeah.
mean, not so bad because we already let y'all know. If you guys don't know, I'll say it again on this show, as we'll say on any show. Go back and watch our review of that. 10 out of 10 anytime.
Hmm.
I don't have to think about it. I know it. And in fact, I'll say right now, while we're talking about our 10 out of 10s, our other 10 out of 10 of last year, or I think we had 3 10 out of 10s actually. So one of our other 10 out of 10s of last year, RRR, the stats on that are freaking insane. Not just for our review. I mean, the stats on the numbers when it came to Netflix,
Hmm.
man, I think it got to like 46 million views or something in the first month.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Incredible.
definitely.
And that's on Netflix. Like you can read that when you go to it on Netflix. But yeah, it was pretty dope. So yeah, as far as movies that this would have had to compete with or other movies, whether we realize it or not, last year might have been a really good year for movies, and we might be going back to dig from the 2022 crate for a while.
Yeah.
'Cause that the list of movies is kind of like, wow, there's a lot of hey, I've seen most of these. These are all really good movies. So yeah, to the last thoughts I had about Banshees of Inisherin, I liked it. I liked the acting. I liked like I said, as far as location, I've been really big on cinematography lately, checking out backgrounds and how they're utilizing the landscape. There's a lot of open landscape shots in movies lately, which lets me know that people are back outside. But there's probably still a lot of restrictions going on some of these sets, so people have to maneuver in between the lines. And I see a lot being done with that. I think that's how you get a film like this, where you have such a small setting. It looks like they really shot this off the coast of Ireland, um, with a bunch of actors who are familiar, seemingly, with the region. So uh, maybe we'll get a lot more things of this nature that really fall into the vein of near excellence. I won't say perfection because that's a lot higher, but when it comes to films, excellence is a class, not just, a tier of ratings. But was done very well. Even if you don't know what you're watching, you can see how well this movie was done, especially on a $20 million budget.
Yeah.
I have nothing bad really to say about this movie, and
It's a
that's why I
severe
really want to do this.
yeah, it's a seriously an indie flick.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's a good one. I think what's his name? Gleason and Farrell were in a movie called In Bruges
Mhm.
about 12 years ago, and this is them getting back together
Yeah,
as a acting duo. So
nice.
it's been a long time coming for those two. So
Nice,
yeah.
nice. I might have to go back and watch that because I like Colin Farrell,
Hmm.
and young Colin Farrell was definitely in some things that makes you go, "Oh, damn, okay."
Yeah, he was hot for a while. I
Mhm.
mean, still a good actor. Just he was in
There was a
everything at
time
one
where,
point.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, there was a
yeah,
time where you were like, "Yo, do you say no to anything?"
right.
But yeah, so good on him. Good on Gleason. Good on the director. Good on this movie. I mean, hey, again, it didn't win some of the things that people thought it would, but it was up against some stiff competition. Um,
Yeah.
and the reviews made me turn and go watch it. So here we go. Anybody who is interested, go and check out Banshees of Inisherin, currently showing on HBO Max. Um, I'll go first with the rating since you went first with your final thoughts.
Hmm.
So I am going to give this an 8. There was nothing emotional to really get into, but outside of that, there's no real pitfalls or downsides to this movie. It doesn't wow me, so of course it wasn't going to get anything more than an 8 because there's no tears and no wowing. But this movie does as good as it can within the vein that within what it gives you. I think if they had tried to do anything more, they would have started to take away from what this movie is. So yeah, it's an 8 for me.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you, to be honest. I was thinking about 7.5, but I was like, after this conversation, I think I can push it up to an 8 because I really like that you don't know 100% why Colm isn't talking to
Yeah,
Podrick. And I like that you can kind of make your own decision on why that is. Um, and then also the parallels with history and like the social commentaries and just the human
life.
element of life and
Yeah,
just being in a small town and wanting bigger dreams and feeling regrets about the stuff you didn't do. I think that that's all very human. And
right.
so yeah, I enjoyed this one. I think cinematography was good. Yeah, that's it.
No, no, no. I want you to finish that, but I did want
Oh
to say
yeah.
something.
Hmm. Go ahead.
Um, I just had a thought. This is one of those films. I don't want to say a passion piece. I guess we call those like artsy films.
Yeah. I think it's like it's to be honest, I think it could be like a cult classic.
Yeah, okay, thank you. That's what
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a cult class. Like I feel like I'm gonna watch this again in a year or two, and it might draw emotions and feelings from me that it didn't this time around
Maybe.
because
Yeah.
I was just trying to see how good of a movie it is. But now that I'm there, I might become Irish for a whole 2 hours next time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like this is one of those movies. Like when you revisit it, you may you'll be a different viewer than you were the first time you saw it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you might pick up on different stuff too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought the cinematography was great. I thought the acting was very good. The music is good too. It's a very pretty, it's very sad, but it's also funny. Um,
Very sad.
yeah, it's very sad. But that's kind of, that's what life is, right? Sad and funny and beautiful and all
Ebbs and
that type of
flows.
stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think an 8 is good. Solid.
Yeah. That's a solid one. So we definitely give this an 8 out of 10. And again, for those who have not seen Banshees of Inisherin, go ahead and check it out. We liked it, and if we like it, you know it did well because We don't like a lot.
It's true.
We don't like a lot. Well,
Yes.
no. We don't love a lot. We like this a lot. So let's run with that one. But we still
Mhm.
don't like a lot. I don't know. I'm trying to save us some faith over here, some hope. We some haters.
We are, but we know when we see something good, so
Yeah, for
that
sure.
works.
We know how
Yeah.
to give things the appropriate accommodations and recommendation. With
And
that
this
being
was
said,
good. Yeah.
yeah, this was good. This was good. This was a smile
Mhm.
for a hump day. Hey now. With
Yeah.
that being said, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Screen Time Continuum on this wonderful Wednesday. Be sure to check out all of our other shows as you journey through your week. We have a Tuesday show, a Wednesday show, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday show. So Monday's the only day you're getting off. Those shows are available on YouTube and Facebook, as well as most of the other places that you get your podcasts and shows that you like to watch. Always type in one of our names on any of your channels. Let's start with the two Twitch channels. The two Twitch channels that you're going to want to make sure you're checking out, also available on YouTube and Twitch. King underscore of underscore Ilion, where you'll be checking out Big Mike and his games and what he has in store for you, as well as Strawberries Coffee, where Dejan will be giving you what he has in his vault and or what is coming to him for the new month of games. Shows that you'll be checking out, go ahead, make that list. I know you got your pen and paper out, or you're already typing it into your notes, or you're sending it in a message to one of your friends because you're like, hey, I just got this really cool list of shows. I think we should both check them out. Type them in on your platforms that you like. Also available on YouTube and Facebook. You can send it to them just like that. If you have your captions on, you probably just copied and pasted what I just said, but it's all fine. I appreciate you for that. Go ahead and check out If Numbers Could Talk. If Numbers Could Talk is available for you, as well as the Screen Time Continuum, which you are currently here on. Exofathom, which is available for you on Fridays. This Married Moment is available for you on Saturdays. And of course, the second time around, or the first time, depending on how you start your week, another Screen Time Continuum. That is
Mhm.
literally how those come out for you. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. And stay tuned for next episode. Sunday, we are going to be
Yes,
reviewing Luther, the Fallen Son on Netflix,
that's right.
starring Idris Elba. So be ready for that. You can always check out the community page on our YouTube page as well. We'll give you a note about what we will be reviewing in the next episode if you want to check that out with us. So check out the community page on our YouTube channel at Screen Time Continuum.
Definitely get over there, check that out for us, guys. That's a great thing for us to add, don't you think? Let us know, give us some feedback on how you guys think and feel about having that community page going and active for you guys to keep up with us. Also, as Nick said, be aware, Luther. We reviewing Luther. So if you a Luther fan or you know Luther fans, because Luther was definitely a show already out there for you guys. So we know there's a fan base already out there. We're just trying to get in there with the people who we know and who we enjoy. And Idris Elba is definitely one of those guys that we know and enjoy. So check that out. Check us out on Wednesdays. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Check in with the Screen Time Continuum again. We appreciate you for the Screen Time Continuum. My name is Keelan.
I'm Nick.
And we appreciate you guys. Man, I'm
We
glad my
just
house
don't
didn't get
like
burned
you
down.
anymore.
But who are we talking to? But you liked me yesterday.